To anyone listening to the sound of my voice, I want to officially welcome you to another episode of my podcast, the Next Generation Orientation Podcast. And on today's episode, we'll be talking about the benefit of communication. So, communication is just like an exchange of information in whichever medium you can use, which can be a verbal or a non-verbal part of communicating. So, and I think that lack of communication have actually cost us a lot in our society. It has cost us some friendship. It has cost us some relationship. It have actually cost us some vital parental and child friendship and all that. So lack of communication is something that have brought a lot of low self-esteem in our society. People fail to communicate and express how they feel and all that. So I think it's something that is very vital and key for us to talk about. And it's going to be an amazing episode. So on this episode, I'm having a friend of mine, a psychologist, Margaret. Margaret, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine also. So, we meeting, I just like come over to your page. I just bumped to your page and I saw this beautiful psychologist and I was like, so the things I'm more concerned about perspective of life, and we have a conversation. I think that your perspective of life is somebody that understands life. I don't like dealing with religious people. That was the reason why I asked you that question. So I think that your perspective of life is something that, okay, let's have this conversation. Let's talk, So I want to officially welcome you to my podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for
glad to be here.
Yeah. So tell me something. Why did you want us to talk about this benefit of communication?
Now, you gave me some
list of topics.
A
lot.
And I don't know, that benefit of communication, that communication itself, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not talked about enough, right?
Yes.
Because lack of communication has had like bad effects
on
society. People's relationship, people's work, people's even like childhood. They've had issues where lack of communication was like a major problem in their home.
Exactly.
So when I saw that and I saw benefits of communication, I was like, okay, I want to talk about this topic so that at least when someone knows the benefits of communication, they would even strive to communicate more because it will help them.
Exactly.
So now communication, you said something about communication.
Exchange of information.
Yes, exchange of information. If you want to still break it down, we can say it's the art of expressing oneself. Okay. Once you express yourself, somebody can understand. Now, if I want something, if I go to a restaurant and I stand in the middle of the restaurant and I don't do anything, and I actually want food, nobody would know what I want.
Exactly.
I'd have to walk up to the waiter and say, I want rice. Okay. Or I'll say, I want food. And then the waiter will still ask, which food do you want? I have to say, I want rice for them to understand. Now that's communication.
Yes.
The step that happened was I entered into the restaurant, I went to the waiter and I told the waiter what I want.
Exactly.
If I don't communicate with the waiter wouldn't know that I'm hungry and I want food. So you see now that communication has taken place.
Exactly.
Do you know that every day we wake up and we go out, we always communicate?
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
Be it body language and or by words, we communicate. Every time we communicate. We wake up, we go to work, we're talking with our colleagues, we're communicating. The work that we're doing, we have to tell this person, okay, this is what Oga said needs to be done for that work to actually take place. So communication is very broad. Like we do it every day. So I feel like we need to talk about it. We need to talk about the benefits of communication so that people out there will actually know that, okay, this is actually a big deal. I can't go through life without communicating what I want. Now, the thing about communication is that it can affect our relationships.
A lot. Not just relationship. A lot. It affects, the lack of communication affects almost everything in life.
Almost everything.
Just tell me one thing you can do in life without communication.
Nothing. You can't do anything without communication.
Even people that don't talk, even the deaf, they still have to do it. Yes. That is where they bring in non-verbal communication.
Of course. So you always have to communicate. Now, in our relationship, because communication is broad, so let's just start from, let's say, relationship.
I think why you want to talk about relationship, it's like you have an experience in that relationship.
No, it's not about the experience, but being a psychologist, you have met with people and you have talked to people. Now, all this experience, you've gathered it, and once you sit down, you know that, okay, relationship is one of the areas that have actually been affected by lack of communication. Yes. Yeah. So relationship doesn't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay. It can also be parent-children relationship, right? It can also be teacher-student relationship. Relationship is actually very vast.
Yes.
So now it's now up to us to pick which one do we want to talk about, and we go one by one the different effects that bad communication has had in relationships.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Okay.
So let's talk about the different part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talk about relationship. What could be the effect? You know, because for me, when you talk about this relationship, I know that it has caused a lot of damages and problems in our society. Yes, because of lack of communications and our just like you said, teacher-students relationship. I can imagine how it is going through primary school and having a teacher that maybe the salary wasn't enough for him or her, and he's casting that anger of the salary not being enough on this.
Now that is also still communication.
Yes.
Okay, maybe the teacher must have told the principal or the headmaster then that my salary is not enough. And then the headmaster will say, okay, just wait till next term. I'll talk to the proprietor and they'll do something about it. Now the teacher is frustrated. And what way to bring out my frustration than on the children? Right? It's another way of communication, but it's bad.
Very bad communication.
It's the children now that are facing the consequences of bad leadership. Let me just put it like that.
What does not concern them?
You get.
Yeah.
So now the student is being bullied at school.
At school.
Okay. During break time, they'll take him to the back of the school and beat him. And then he comes to the teacher and he's like, "Ma, sir, this and these people took me to the back of school to beat me." And then the teacher in anger will not be like, "Will you get out of here?"
You know?
And then
because she's thinking of something that you're not even doing.
And then that child is already so afraid. Oh, okay, so if I'm being bullied, I don't have to report. I should just swallow it. I should just swallow the pain.
Exactly.
Because the person that is supposed to help me is also going to shout at me.
Exactly.
So now that communication is just... You see that everything
and
is
people
just...
grew with that.
Yes.
And they keep that in mind.
Of course.
Sometimes you see people act. It's not even their fault. It's maybe it's either from their environment or from their family they come from, or from the things that they engage themselves into.
Of course. Or you can even say that too for the parents at home. Okay, if he doesn't want to talk to the teacher, he goes to the parents and be like, "Mommy, so person touched me in my pants." You know, she's communicating with her parents, right?
Yes.
She's actually trying to tell
the parents something that happened.
Something bad has happened to her. She's communicating. And now it's up to the parents to either call them and ask them and do something about it, or chastise them. And unfortunately, we always have issues where the parents, instead of actually telling the child that, "Okay, who did this to you? I'm going to meet that person," so that the parents will communicate with the child that it's not good for somebody to touch you, and that person that touched you should not get away with it. It should be a case of, okay, somebody did something bad to it and that person will be punished for it. Now some parents will be like, "Will you keep quiet? Don't allow anybody to hear your voice on this matter again."
And it happens a lot of times.
Yes, and that child's voice is silenced. Now that child can go through life knowing that, okay, if anything happens to me, I'm not going to talk. I shouldn't communicate. Because once I do communicate, instead of being told that, okay, you did good,
you're not being judged or
yes, you are being judged and punished for it. Now in later in life, if that child now goes to the extent where she's raped, who is she supposed to come and talk to?
You see?
Her parents. But then she feels, okay, if I talk to my mom, if I talk to my dad, they are not going to help me, they are going to punish me. So that child now puts it in. That pain becomes, it turns to resentment. And now when she sees anybody coming towards her, she's just feeling, oh, this person wants to hurt me. So I don't even want to have any association that will even make them go to the extent of hurting me. So I'm just going to stay on my own. That on her own is her own defense mechanism. And that has been generated due to years and years of lack of communication. So you see, it's not just one consequence, that lack of communication, because it's a chain of events.
It's a chain of events. And when you talk about, sometimes I don't even blame the feminists. The people that talk, I know feminism is bad, but then sometimes when you try to hear that own part of the story, you understand that maybe through experience, they actually had some kind of experience that was actually bad, because of this. Communication is just the key to all these things. Some people were molested when they were a kid. I've had a girlfriend that told me that even their cousin have molested them, but talking to their dad about it, even sometimes even the cousin self, after molesting, they will still come and threaten you that if you tell anybody, I will woos you. Something like that. So I understand those kind of part, but then we really need to the reason for this is for us to educate our people, for them to be able to educate the young ones coming up under them, for them to be free in communication. You understand? Like, you need to let your child. Sorry, something is in your eye. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's out. It's out now. All right. Yeah.
It has gone, right?
Yeah, it's gone out.
Okay.
Yeah. So well, let's talk about the effects. Then let's talk about the effect of this communication before we get to the benefit.
Okay.
Yeah. So to you, do you have any experience on the effect of lack of communication?
I have various experiences. I've had various experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Both the one I've seen with my eyes
and the one
that has been told to me.
Yes.
So there are a lot of effects. Okay, let me see. Now, I'm going to give you a case study.
Yes.
There's let's just say there's a couple
mm-hmm.
going through a relationship issue,
mm-hmm.
and the wife feels like, okay, there is this particular thing I want my husband to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. As in, I want him to do. Okay, let's just say maybe her love language is not being communicated.
Mm-hmm.
So the husband doesn't know what to do,
mm-hmm.
and the wife is already angry
that
okay, he's not doing what I want him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all this can be corrected if all this can be corrected if the wife just sits down and tell the husband, like, honey, okay, this is what you are doing that I don't like.
Yeah.
Instead of holding that grudge that he's doing something, there's something he's doing that I don't like, this and that. Or somebody comes to meet her and tells her, I saw your husband in so place. I don't know, he was with a woman and I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of her to go and talk to the man
mm-hmm.
and tell him, okay, somebody said she saw you here. Can you explain to me? Can you communicate and tell me what happened? All right, she's saying, she's coming inside, and then the man is coming, and then she's like, hello. And then she carries her face away, and then he's like, I expected a warm welcome. What is this? And then he sits down, and she brings your food. Your food. This is your food.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is all this? Can't I come from a day of hard work and come to meet somebody smiling? And she's like, don't talk to me. You know what you did. And he's like, okay, what did I do? You know what you did. Once you are done figuring out what you did, you will come and apologize to me. And then the man is already defensive, like, I don't need this. And then he carries his car keys, and he leaves the house. Now, then he doesn't come back. He's out there saying, I don't understand my wife. She will just stand up, and then maybe she's in a mood swing. She's not telling me what's wrong. And then I come to the house, and she's just being very mean to me. I don't need this. And then the friend will now tell him that, I beg, don't mind your wife, Joe. They are just doing like that. If I follow me to one party. And then he goes to a party and comes back around 1 o'clock. And then the woman will be like, yes, I said it. Is this not what they say? Yes, he has gone out to meet her. All these things could have been settled if she had just asked him a question. Yeah. Who is that woman you are with? And now let's just say the plot twist is that the woman is like a colleague or something. Something that it doesn't even it doesn't need the woman being angry.
Yes.
But because of the whole miscommunication now and the whole assumption, the whole one-sided story. I call it one-sided story because somebody came to tell her that she saw the husband with another woman. That's one side of the story.
You didn't hear from the man. She
didn't go to the man to ask, okay, somebody said she saw you with a woman. Why don't you tell me what happened? And then the man will tell her, okay, this is actually my work colleague. This is actually my boss. We went out so that we can talk after work hours. And then she's like, oh, okay. Now I know two sides to the story. But now she had one side of the story. She made her assumption. She made her conclusion. And at the end of the day, this has caused strife in the marriage.
But what if there was an earlier kind of communication before? My kind of person, some people see that, my friends used to tell me that that's kind of a weakness. Just imagine that maybe I have someone, my guy, or I have someone that I'm dating. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. It's the flies. I'm sorry about that. So I have someone that I'm dating and all that. So, and we wanted to go out, and then maybe having a say, hello babe, me and person would go out, we did somewhere like we did so like this, something like that. So I love that kind of communication.
Yes.
So it will even make that even somebody see you say, I see your guy with one care, you'll be like, I know.
Okay, now that's another angle.
Yes.
A very good angle. He could have called and be like, okay, this is me leaving work. I'm going to have dinner, or I'm going to have late lunch with my colleague.
Yes.
I'm going to have late lunch with my boss. But what if there's an instance where it was impromptu?
Something like,
okay, let's we're passing through. Okay, we're coming back from a meeting. Let's just stop and get something to eat before you head home.
Okay. And then you are unable to communicate instantly.
Yes, but I feel like if there had been a foundation of communication,
it will be easier.
Yes, even on days where he can't call and tell her that, okay, I'm going out for late lunch with a colleague. When he comes back home,
it's going to be a gist.
Yes. When he comes back home and she's like, somebody said she saw you outside having dinner or having lunch, and he'll be like, yes, this is what happened after work. But for the fact that there was an assumption and conclusion without hearing the other part of the story, that shows that there's a series of lack of communication.
Exactly. That kind of person would even want to, I see it as a gist. I would even want to, when I come back and say, "Oh, baby, see what happened to me and this lady," that kind of thing. I just want to make it a gist and all that. So I think it's something that we need to learn.
Yes.
Maybe I'm used to it already. Maybe I'm used to, I understand what communication is all about. So let me not use myself and compare to other people. So that's the reason why we are doing this, so that people that don't understand, that don't know, can actually learn the power of communication. Yes. So I wanted to put it the power of communication, because it's very powerful.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know if so I just wanted to say, okay, let's make it as the benefit of communication. But the main supposed to be the power of communication. So if you learn how to communicate, you are powerful. Yes, because if you get knowledge, you're powerful. If you learn how to communicate, you're powerful. You learn how to be expressive. See, express your mood. See, don't leave something for later. I don't even understand. Yeah, don't leave something for later. Leaving something for later is kind of, you're accumulating the expressions. Don't leave something for later. Somebody did something, or maybe you just did something and like, hey babe, I don't like this thing that you just did. Please, I wouldn't want you to do it next time. Maybe I was just waiting for you to, okay, let me wait for later. Let me wait for when she's in a good mood for me to tell her. And then you are accumulating that anger, you're thinking about it, and you know that you're thinking about it. And for you to stop thinking about it, you have to express it. Now, the time you're supposed to use to plant or think about something better, you're using it to think about something that you would have expressed immediately.
That's true. That's actually very true.
That's key. I love my friends, they know me, I'm blunt. Like, I love expressions instantly. You do me something I don't like, I call you respectively. I don't even understand. Yes. Because I vow for love and respect. Love and respect is actually my highest principles. Okay. Love and respect. Yeah. That is the two things that's my highest principles. So if I love you, I respect you. If I respect you, I will love you.
I'm going to put a pin on that. You said your type of person is a person that when you get angry, immediately
I communicate it. You
communicate it
instantly.
Now that's
so that I will not think about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we also have a role to play to be sensitive. Do you know why?
Why?
Your type of person is the person that once someone annoys you, you'll be like, guy, I don't like this. But now, do you know there's another type of person that once they get annoyed, they don't talk. They just keep quiet. So you see?
I have a friend like that.
Yes. Yeah. So you tell the person, I'm angry. And then the person will be like, okay, I'm sorry. This is what happened. Like, okay, this is what you did. I don't like it. And then the next minute you are smiling with that person.
Hi! I just want to give you a high five.
Yes, that's your personality. That's your personality. And that's how
I see life as very easy.
Now I can tell you that another person would keep quiet. Their personality, maybe due to childhood or due to just personality, they will just keep quiet. At that particular moment, they are angry and maybe they go to think about it, but at that particular moment, they won't tell you that they are angry. Now it's when you now notice that, why are you quiet? And you come to meet the person and be like, why are you quiet? And then they might say nothing. But after a while, they will actually open up and tell you that this is what you did.
Yeah.
Now that's two types of people. There's people that respond and then the air is cleared. And there's another one that just keeps quiet. And if care is not taken, that anger will begin to fester. Yes. Because it has not been addressed. Yes. So you see, at the end of the day, one has to be emotionally intelligent. Okay, this person is frowning, this person is quiet. Okay, let me go and ask, are you okay? Maybe in asking that, are you okay? That person be like, oh, okay, now waiting you do, I know, stuff like that. They actually communicate with you, and then you get to understand the root of their anger. So now that's another thing about communication. I told you that Communication comes both in words and body language.
That's why it's called verbal and non-verbal communication.
Yeah, that's good. So there is words, there's body language. Now that body language is the way the person just reacts. The person comes quiet. The person has a face that looks like he wants to cry. He's just there. And then there are even some other people, even though their face don't show it, you still see from their actions.
Yes,
right. Even if they are not saying I'm angry, they go to sit down in one corner. They are not talking to you, and then you're like, okay, this person was talking to me a moment ago. What is the problem? And then you go to meet that person and you ask, okay, what's wrong? And then the person actually talks to you. So you see, there are two different ways to communicate. Now I said body language too, and I made a statement that some people just wake up and they're happy, and then they go about they're happy. Hello, good morning. How are you doing? At that particular time, they're happy, and then some people just wake up and okay, I'm having a bad day. And now you see that person coming to work. Once you say your good morning, you should know better than to even start a conversation, because that person has communicated to you with their body language that I'm not in the mood to talk. So you see, non-verbal communication too
takes a lot of high IQ for you to observe that.
Yes, and emotional intelligence is that's another part of communication too.
You know, that's what we're supposed to talk about. I'm sorry that someone else said
no
that
problem.
Before
It's a very interesting topic.
Very interesting topic. Wow. Emotional intelligence.
No, if we want to start talking about it now, we might even leave our topic for today and delve into that.
When we talked about that, I have that conversation with Priest. When we talked about that, it was very deep. Emotional intelligence. And I found out that a lot of things that we are doing because of was lack of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So we try to differentiate the difference between emotions and conscience.
Yeah.
Have you actually had an experience what lack of communication have cost you? Have lack of communication cost you something in life?
I think from...
Sorry, come please.
Okay. So I think from even the little things, like, okay, maybe I went to the supermarket, right? And lack of communication. I was supposed to get something. That's from our day-to-day lives. I'm starting from as little as that.
Yes.
I'm supposed to get something, and my sister called and she's like, okay, once you're going, these are the lists, right? Okay, once you reach there, you tell me maybe if there's anything I need to add, I would tell you. And then when I get there, she keeps calling me that, okay, don't buy this groundnut oil. We already have it at home. And I end up buying it. Because maybe she's calling me and I cannot pick the call. Now, lack of communication has made me buy something more than I expected to buy. Now, to the big things as big as work relationships, right? And then there is no lack of communication. Maybe you didn't go to work, or, okay, I'm trying to look for a very befitting scenario to actually push the importance of communication. Okay, so let's see. In our workplace, okay, you are on a project and it requires teamwork. And teamwork works best when there is good communication, right? There's communication between the team leader and the project managers. Every one of them has a role to play in communication. And then maybe there is something that the team leader wanted in this particular project that we're doing. And then the person, the middleman, did not communicate it between us and the team lead. And then the day of the presentation, we're presenting the project, and the team lead is like, "This is not what I asked for. You did not do a good job." And we're like, "Sir, this is all the requirements that was given to us to perform this project." And he's like, "No, this is not what I want. I'm actually disappointed in this particular team for doing this." And then you're like, where did we get it wrong? Only for you to discover that there was a message that was relayed by the team lead to the project people and it wasn't delivered.
Communicated properly.
So there was miscommunication, and that cost you your project being the best. That cost you your applause from your team lead because he felt that you did a terrible job because maybe there is one thing he needed you to add that would change the whole scope of the project and it wasn't added because of miscommunication. So now you see that at the end of the day, you go home, you feel bad, and you're like, okay, at work today I really had a bad day. Our team lead was disappointed in us, and you see that at the end of the day it's miscommunication. Something that would have been corrected with just a phone call, add this to the project. It wasn't communicated, and the whole project just went into nothing because that particular detail wasn't added. So you see, that's like work relationship and the effect of miscommunication there. Now we have already said something about husband and wife miscommunication, right?
Yes, when it comes to relationship.
Yes. Yeah. We've said parents, teacher.
Do you know this parent child on is key? because we are the one to train the next generation.
Yes.
So, and that is my podcast, the next generation podcast.
Yeah.
It's my concern is for us to get it right. What are we going to impact to the next generation? So now, what about this parent-child something is key, because I just think about how we are trained. There was sometimes you think about it, you think that there is no love. Yes, but there was love. The only problem is that there was no communication to that love.
Yes.
We felt to. Did you feel somehow to tell your fellow girl, "I love you"?
A fellow girl?
Or did you feel some guys they feel somehow to tell your fellow guy, this guy is your guy. I love you, my brother.
Yeah, we are even going outside now. I think it's nowadays that it has been shown that you can actually tell your parents I love you.
Yeah.
In the typical African home, when you tell your parents I love you, they'll be like, okay. They might actually not answer you in a very mean way, but they'll just be like, thank you. Like that communication of I love you too is rare.
Yeah.
It's nowadays that we are more exposed, and we'll see that you tell your parents I love you, and your parents tell you I love you back. Because now this generation, we know now that it's actually a good thing to communicate to your children every day. Let them know I love you. Now every day, some parents, which I think is a very good way, they talk to their daughter and they tell her you're beautiful, you are loved, you are special. They are communicating to her. They are telling her that she is worth a lot. They are telling her that she's loved at home. They are communicating to her that the home that she's coming from, it's a home that loves her.
So that she won't feel freaked out when she hears that from outside.
Yes. So that she would know that when she goes outside, she knows her worth.
Yes.
She knows her value. When somebody says something bad to her, she doesn't take it, because at home they have made her realize that she's worth more than any insult that they have been giving to her.
She cannot be easily deceived by what outside people tell her. So
now, if anybody touches your chest, if anybody touches your pee, come and tell me. And then the child goes outside, and then something like that happens, and he comes back like, "Mommy, somebody touched my pee or somebody touched my chest." And she's like, "Who is that person?" And then they go and confront that particular person. Now that child knows that what that person did to him is wrong.
Yes.
And he should be corrected for it. He should be punished for it. So now there's communication between the parent and the child. The parent has made the child know that nobody should touch you that way. It's not right.
It's not right.
So that's communication. So now you see that communication has a big role to play in parenthood, in school, in work, in relationship, in everything we do.
Yeah.
I tell you, from the day-to-day activity of ordering food from the restaurant. Okay, now let me give you a scenario, right? I go to the restaurant and I'm like, okay, I want rice and meat. And then the waiter goes and brings rice and beef. And I'm like, I don't want beef. But you didn't communicate to the waiter that you wanted chicken. So there is lack of communication there. If you
just
want
said meat,
something, you just said
meat could be anything.
Meat is vague. And then the waiter just, okay, fine. She said meat, let me put beef. But once you say, I want rice and chicken, they bring rice and chicken to you. Why is that? When you communicate what you want properly, you actually get what you want.
Exactly.
You even just communicate. Yes. Even you communicate what you want, you get what you want. You go into a shop and you tell the tailor, okay, although we know sometimes sometimes it's what I ordered versus what I got. But once you tell this tailor, okay, this is the specific thing I want, and they deliver it to you, that's communication. That's good communication, and it has what you actually wanted, you received it.
Exactly.
Do you get?
Yes.
So communication is actually very broad. It's actually what we need every day. You actually have to communicate. You actually have to say what you want to get what you want. If somebody is not your friend is not treating you right, or your friend did something that hurts you, you tell the person, okay, see, I do not like what you did. Or your friend did something that made you angry. She said a joke that was too far. And you're like, okay, see, I don't like this. When it comes to that aspect, I don't want you to talk about it. Now you have communicated to the friend your boundaries.
Yes.
Now you have put your boundaries that, okay, I love you, you're my friend, but this particular boundary shouldn't be crossed.
Yes.
You have communicated boundaries, and she's definitely knows that this is not what you want, and she's not going to cross it.
Anybody that is intellectual enough will have to understand. Some people misunderstand that.
Yes.
Some people that when you tell them how you feel, they don't like this, they take it as an offense.
Yes, but do you know that, funny enough, the human mind is very, I don't know how to put it, it's very funny. Even though you've communicated and that person is angry, at the back of their mind, they know that you don't like this. You see some scenarios where even that person is angry, that, why would you say this? the next time if he wants to do that thing, he will think twice before he does it. This person doesn't like this.
This thing.
Let me not do it. I don't want wahala. They can say it like that, but at the end of the day, you have communicated what you want to them.
Exactly.
You see, you have a roommate, and you're like, okay, please, this you can take any of my things, but maybe this my collection of perfumes, my collection of cap. I don't like people touching it. It's sacred to me, so I don't want anybody touching it. And then you've communicated your boundaries to that person.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, the person comes into your room. He might touch your comb. He might touch your this, but that particular set of hats or set of perfumes is off limit. Except when some people just want to actually cross the boundaries and do that. But at least at the end of the day, you know that you have said what you want.
You have communicated
it to that person. So it's up to that person to actually take it or leave it. But you have actually said you don't like it. So that at the end of the day, when you actually catch that person doing this, you can actually say, but I told you before that I don't like something like this. You are actually justified.
Yes.
You can actually say that you actually said something like that.
Yes. And if someone that loves and respects you wouldn't want to actually go cross your boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we've said it all, and let's say this as a summary.
Okay.
So an advice for the benefit of communication. If you are to talk to the young one out there in the society, what would be that one thing you would tell them about communication?
Okay. I think the one advice I would always say is always say what you want. Okay? Like always say what you want, and always have the audacity to say what you want. Like you go to a place and you be like, okay, this is what I want. Always set your boundaries, always set your rules and set your principles. It will take you far. Because once you say what you want, and even though you don't get it at that end of the day, you have spoken out.
You've communicated it.
You've communicated it. In any way you find yourself, if it be with your friend, in your relationship, say what you want. People cannot read your mind.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. People don't know how to read minds. It's up to you to tell people what you want,
what you
for
feel.
you to actually get what you need.
Yes.
That's just it. So you always say what you want. You tell your partner, okay, I don't like it when you do stuff like this. Do it this way. You tell your friend, okay, I don't like it when you say things like this. Please don't say it again. You tell your roommate that please don't touch this. You just set your rules. At the end of the day, they might not, everybody, you can't control everybody.
Yeah.
They might not follow it, but at least it's out there that you have said what you want. And 70% of the time, you actually get it.
Yes.
70%. 30% means that you don't always get what you want, of course. But once you say something, yes, you do get it. So it's better to be to actually open your mouth and you say what you want. When I was growing up, I was quite shy. Yeah. So there are some things that, okay, I'll go to the salon and I don't like the hair the woman is making. I will not communicate it to her that I don't like it. I'm shy. I'll just keep quiet, and then I'll come back home and be crying and be like, I don't like this hair. But I didn't tell the hairdresser
I don't like
the hair. Or when my friend says something, I don't like it. Maybe I'll come back. I was actually very shy.
Yeah.
It took a lot of brain and a lot of self-improvement to actually get to where I am now. If I don't like the hair, I'll say, Madam, I don't like this hair. I'll actually say it.
Yeah.
So, but then if the hairdresser makes the bad hair, I don't say it. I come back and I cry. And at the end of the day, I don't get what I want because I didn't communicate it. Of course, if I had said it there, she would have loosed the hair and made another hair for me.
Yeah.
And then I was so shy. If I go to somewhere and I want to order food, I'll just say, okay, I want this and that. And even if it's not what they bring, instead of me to say, okay, this is not what I ordered, I will just eat it because I was actually very shy.
To say.
Once I now realized that I have to communicate, I have to open my mouth and say what
something.
I want to actually get it. That was just like a 360 for me. It just changed everything. Like I was saying,
it takes a lot of growth and self-improvement for you to get to where you are.
Yes. So now that I realized, now I can confidently tell you that I've lived the life of not saying anything and actually saying anything, which is communication, right?
Yes.
When I don't say something, I'm not communicating. When I say something, I am communicating. Right. So now I can tell you that communication is key.
It's key. Very, very key.
It is very, very key. So it is best when you want something, you say what you want. No, like, just say it. If this is what you want, go for it. Say what you want.
Say what you want.
Yeah, so that you actually get what you need.
That's just being expressive.
Yes, being expressive.
Yeah, being expressive.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to actually advise our next generation.
Did you think that lack of communication brings low self-esteem, or low self-esteem brings lack of communication?
I feel that is not the right word. I feel sometimes lack of communication is as a result of low self-esteem.
Yes.
Because once you see some people, they don't talk, they are into their self, it's because maybe they've had years and years and years of people telling them to keep short. So now they now see themselves as not worth being heard.
Being heard, exactly.
So at the end of the day, they are different. Some people are just naturally shy, while others are just low self-esteem. They walk into a room, they don't want anybody to look at them. They don't want to talk to people. Whatever they are giving, they accept it like that, because they just feel like nobody's going to listen to me. And why is that? That could still be communication from their childhood.
From their childhood, yes.
When they speak up and somebody tell them, "Should you shut up and keep quiet? Don't talk when you're not talking." And at the end of the day, they keep hearing shut up. And now they are subconscious. Once they want to talk, the subconscious tells them shut up. So you see,
that's
communication.
Part of subconscious mind.
So you see, sometimes lack of communication is as a result of low self-esteem. They don't want to say what they don't even say what they deserve. They go to work for someone and somebody pays them less than what they deserve. They won't speak up. They will just be, thank God I even collected this. Let me just keep it. Let me keep quiet. Do you get?
Yes.
That's lack of communication. So once we speak up, now a lot of great changes in history was as a result of speaking up. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And that's communication. Okay, a lot of people spoke up. Okay, we don't like how we are being treated. We communicated to them that, okay, we don't like it. And then there was a change.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to speak up at some times to actually get what you want. Okay, the teachers that we're talking about are not paid well. They come together and be like, okay, we are going to form a teachers group, and we're going to speak up to the proprietor that, okay, we don't like how we're being treated. We deserve extra pay. And then once they communicate and the proprietor says that, okay, these people are not coming to school, they mean business, and then they increase their fees. Communication has taken place.
Yeah,
so you see, everything you need to do, you need to have to communicate to get what you want.
Wow, this is a very good and amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for the knowledge you shared. You know, some people don't actually understand it. So some people think that it's something that is not supposed to be talked about. So for every time in your life, communication is always key. You know, speak it out, say it out. You know how you feel. Communicate your feelings. Don't get shy. Don't have this low self-esteem. Don't feel as if you have nothing to contribute. You always have something to say, you know. So that is why this my podcast. The people that I bring in, sometimes people look at it, they are not celebrities. It's not about celebrities. It's people that have something to say.
Yes.
So because some celebrities don't even have something to say. Yeah. Some people get there by luck. Yeah. 70% of celebrities have nothing to say. You know. So it's always about people that have something to say. So be expressive. Speak it out. Nobody's going to read your mind. God never gave us the power to read each other's mind. So the best way for you to speak your mind is to communicate.
Yes.
No matter how it is, communicate. Anybody that tends not to be your friend because of the way you express yourself is not meant to be your friend from the beginning.
That is just it.
That is just it.
Yes.
If somebody feel offended because of the way you communicate to the person, you express yourself to the person, and the person felt offended, the person is not supposed to be in your circle, no matter what. And if you feel offended also the way somebody expresses or herself to you, that means you're not supposed to be in that person's life. That means you have a long way to go. You have a lot of things to learn about life. Because
especially
life is
emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. The ability for you to understand yourself and understand others around you also is very key.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very key. So we've said it all, and I believe we've understand what the benefits of communication is. Very key. You always communicate. So thank you so much once again, Margaret, for being on this podcast with me. And
You're
I want
welcome.
to appreciate those listening and watching out there. Thank you so much for being with me. And I believe that my purpose is for you to get this right, to understand the principles of life, to get it right. And I believe you've learned something from this episode. Thank you so much for keeping it real with me. And I would love to see you on the next episode on the Next Generation of Orientation Podcast. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye. Whoa. This is just it. So did you know that we have